The Broncos open up in an AFC West slobber knocker against the Raiders on Sunday. Interesting nugget out of the Rocky Mountains. See what I did there? Interesting nugget.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Yeah, let's ride. Just going to ride on over to Bronco country. So if you have not heard, then maybe not, because you actually have things going on in your life. You're not obsessing with all the sporting news, and that's good. You're healthy. You've got a little bit of balance in your life, so that's a good thing. So we are told, as part of a brand new plan, a strategy, Stratomatic, as Mark, the full name guy, would say, a little Stratomatic action here to awaken his star quarterback. Broncos head coach Sean Payton has gone to some unorthodox techniques. So Broncos coach Sean Payton apparently told Russell Wilson to focus less on Russell Inc. Say what? So in a big feature article, a very wordy feature article written by Seth Wickersham, he's the guy that was snooping around with the Patriots with Tom Brady and had some scoopage back a few years ago. So Seth Wickersham, an investigative reporter, he tells us that Sean Payton had a very direct message to Russell with muscle. What was that message? His message was essentially, will you effing stop kissing all the babies? The story wrote, stop kissing all the babies, and you're not running for public offense. Or office, rather. You're not running for public office. All right, so that was the quote. You're not stop kissing the babies, and you're not running for public office. So let us discuss the question, all right? What is Sean Payton really telling us with Russell Wilson's advice that was released out into the public domain? So I've got Clark Gable, helicopter, and candidate. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a cheesesteak sandwich. The perfect sandwich is the cheesesteak sandwich, and it's just wonderful. Not a Colorado sandwich, but it's still great, and certainly better than Rocky Mountain oysters, which I ate several years ago, and it's a very traumatic experience in my life. So first of all, Sean Payton is taking the Warner Brothers Acme cartoon anvil approach with his quarterback. He is. He's dropping that on top of Russell Wilson's head. You get the Acme cartoon anvil. Congratulations. And he's taking the gloves off, much like he did with the former coach of the Broncos, Nathaniel Can't Hackett, with the Jets. And Sean Payton, you think it's because he was hanging out with Terry Bradshaw and the guys over at Fox now? He's just like, I don't give a damn. They're paying me $18 million a year, and I'm going to do it my way or the highway. That's how it's going to go. So this is a bit of an initiation ceremony for Russell Wilson, and he's calling the spade a spade, if you will, from this side of the very powerful FSR microphones. From this side of the microphone, it screams that Sean Payton is telling all of us, and I'm using my decoder ring for this, that Russell Wilson is a fake, a phony, and a fraud. And stop being a fake, a phony, and a fraud. Don't do those things. Bad job by you. And your teammates know you're a fake, a phony, and a fraud. Your teammates know, the coaches know, the media knows. There are some obtuse fans that are clueless, that have no idea. They just drink the orange Kool-Aid, the orange crush, and they're all about that. But for the vast majority of people, you've been exposed. And so Sean Payton's like, just knock it off, as Ryan Leaf would say back in the day. And he's going full Gone with the Wind. Clark Gable, the iconic quote, one of the top 10 quotes all time in the history of Hollywood. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn, is what Sean Payton is telling Russell Wilson. Now, will it resonate? Will it resonate with Russell Wilson, or are the Denver Broncos going to have to get some barbecue sauce and a bib and have to choke on the rest of that Russell Wilson contract if it doesn't go well this season? Now, secondly, let's go to Lost Wages, Nevada. The Raiders filling up the content plate yet again. Second time here in the overnight we've talked about the Raiders. The pass rusher extraordinaire, Chandler Jones, has decided he would like to toss a Molotov cocktail into the coach's room there for the Raiders, a hypothetical Molotov cocktail, of course. So he went on a rampage on social media, and we are so lucky that we get the benefit. We're the beneficiaries of that rant on social media in a series of since-deleted posts on the gram. Chandler Jones shared what appears to be screenshots of text messages with Josh McDaniels, asking if the team brought him to Vegas to play with me, as in messing with the mind of Chandler Jones, the expat, and saying it is not right to make him work out at a local gym rather than the team facility. But wait, there's more. Jones also wrote that the team is trying to, quote, provoke him by barring him from the Raider practice facility, claiming that someone from the team even had the gall to reach out to his old baby mama, despite the lack of any kind of contact, any kind of relationship between him and the baby mama. That's some baby mama drama, I would say. Now, Jones continued saying that he needs to talk to Antonio Brown. And when you announced you need to talk to Antonio Brown or something about something, you've really gone over the deep end. And you've gone over the edge into the deep end and all that. And so he also tossed out that he just wants to know whether or not this is the right fit for him with McDaniels and Josh Ziegler. He said, F it, I don't want to play for the Raiders if that's my head coach or GM. So he already made his mind up. So the question on this one, how does this Chandler Jones rant about Josh McDaniels play out in Vegas? So right away you've got palace intrigue. And it is red meat in the lion's den for those that remember Josh McDaniels as an abject failure when he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos, and what a hot mess that was. And people say, well, see, he's doing the same thing. He hasn't learned his lesson. Here you got Chandler Jones, an expatriate, who you'd think of all the people that would be on Team McDaniels, that Chandler Jones, an expat, would be part of that. But no, he's got a beef with his head coach and the GM, who also is a former New England Patriot front office person. And yet there's an issue there. So that's some red meat. And the Raiders right now, as you head into the season, they're on the playground. They're walking across a wobbly suspension-style bridge, the Raiders. And Chandler Jones is on that bridge, and he's shaking the bridge. Shake it good. Yeah, he's shaking the bridge. Right? And because you get that tap on the shoulder, I assume Jones got called into the principal's office and said, hey, you got to delete that. Okay, I'll delete it. But the internet is forever. The internet is forever. And so consider Chandler Jones calling for a chopper on standby. You know those great escape scenes, the wonderful escape scenes in the movies where at a moment's notice there's a handy helicopter that just pops up and you can escape the situation just on standby. And so he'd like that helicopter to take him out of the Vegas Valley there and take him away. Now, final thought. We're going to shift away from football, and we're going to go to baseball. Baseball's been very, very good to me. What's going on in baseball, you ask? We're going to go to Cleveland, where we have now gotten confirmation that the skipper of the Cleveland baseball team is in the bottom of the ninth inning. There's a couple outs in the bottom of the ninth inning, and the game's about to end. Nobody on base. Cleveland's not going to make the playoffs this season. They have faded in the late summer sun as we shift the calendar now. So it's not looking good, but Terry Francona, if you didn't hear this, Terry Francona, the manager of the Guardians, a team named after a bridge, Terry Francona has made it official. He is planning to retire. Now, he had said something along these lines a couple weeks back. We talked about it on a previous episode of the show, but Francona has now spoken those words into a microphone on state-funded MLB radio. Here is Terry Francona announcing that this is it.
I think I've been pretty clear with people. I don't want to have the last month be a send-off or a pity party, or that's not how I feel. But it's time. and my body's telling me that, my head's telling me that, and I don't want to stay on for the wrong reasons. And I hope I have too much respect for not just the game, but for this organization to do that. And so I've been pretty clear with the guys I work for and told them to start preparing because it's time.
Yeah, it's time. And he's right. Can anyone disagree with that? He's had a lot of issues the last couple of years, and it sucks. Your body starts falling apart. He's not even that old a dude, and his body's falling apart. It blows, but that's part of being a human being. We're all fallible. It happens to all of us at one point or another. But here's the question on this one. All right. Where does Terry Francona's departure from Cleveland lead us to? Quick take on this. So it leads us down the garden path of one less old-school manager. Now, Terry Francona, I don't think of him as a classical old-school manager, but by modern standards, you watch Cleveland, what used to be a Cleveland Indians game back in the day, and Terry Francona was closer to the old school than the modern manager in today's baseball. And so on occasion, Francona would do something that is verboten in the modern game. He would go by the feel of the game, that if you have a hunch, you bet a bunch. And that's how he would do it. If he felt like a pitcher was pitching well and maybe he had crossed the Rubicon on a number of pitches, he would leave him in. And he'd leave the lineup a certain way based on what he assumed was going to happen. That is not allowed anymore. So the smart money tells us that with Terry Francona exiting stage left, in his place, we don't know who is going to replace Tito as the manager of the Cleveland baseball team, but it's a pretty good bet that whoever it is will be another Manchurian candidate, another one of these robots, someone put in the dugout as in a guy that can just repeat the analytical dogma, whatever's in the 3-ring binder, just repeat what the boys upstairs want and don't have any kind of original thought. And if you do, whatever you do, don't go with it. And another sock puppet brainwashed by the baseball establishment into performing actions very robotically with no editorial control. That's who is going to replace Terry Francona. I'd be stunned. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they hire somebody who's not like that. But I see little evidence that is going to be the case in Cleveland.